Hello and welcome to Music Industry Interviews. Now today we've got Sonny Bass. Say hello.
Yo, what's up?
So tell us a bit about yourself.
All right, well, my name is Sonny Bass. My real name is Sheng. I've been making music for about 12 years. Started out as a hip hop producer. I think I've been making dance and house music for about 7 years now. And I'm signed to Armada Music. And I've got releases on Spinnin', Universal, Armada, Wall Recordings, and more.
Wow, so you've done quite well for yourself.
Yeah. I've been busy.
Okay, so just tell us how and why you got into the music scene.
Well, that's a funny story. A good friend of mine in high school made music with Reason, Propellerhead Reason, and it was just really simple, basic beats and stuff. But it got me so inspired that I was like, "Yo, dude, you gotta teach me how to do this." And I actually paid him like €50 or something,
Wow.
and he taught me the basics from Propellerhead from Reason. And like after a year or two, I actually got better than him, and he was inspired by me. So so that was pretty cool. And yeah, of course, I had my favorite artists at the time, and I tried to recreate the sounds, so like Timbaland.
And who were they?
At the time, those were Timbaland, Ryan Leslie, Scott Storch, that kind of. It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. Are you still mates with that guy?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's still one of my close friends. So very
Oh,
cool.
brilliant. So who is your inspiration now?
Well, I get my inspiration from so many different styles of music. I basically I love everything that sounds good. Um, so yeah, that's a difficult question. I don't think I have a specific like inspiration at the moment. But all good music, and if it has this new sound or new when somebody flips it like nobody else has done, yeah, then it no, then it inspires me. But I even get inspiration from like classical pieces and movie music like Hans Zimmer and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
I love Hans Zimmer. I love
yeah,
Hans
yeah,
Zimmer.
definitely.
Okay, so you're a coach member on Team MBL.
That's
Yep.
right.
So
Yeah.
just tell us a bit about that as well and what you have to do in that role.
Well, the coaching, Lucas actually set that up, I think, about a year ago. We invited him because he came to the Netherlands, and we invited him to our studio. And yeah, we really, we really clicked. So he asked us to be involved in his producers team. He was like, "Yo, I'm going to set up these coaching sessions where people can book them, and then you can actually give them tips on their productions or anything else. Like if they have questions about how to drop demos or how to get in touch with labels and stuff like that, then you can help them out with that." And we were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll see what happens." But it actually, I think it works really well, and it helps a lot of people because I get really the questions really, they are from like, can you help me how to get my drop, how to improve my drop, or questions like, I want to get my record on Future House Music, and how do I do that? And those are things. I mean, I can tell you the specific way to get your track on Future House Music, for example, but I can tell them my experiences, and I think that really helps them to get a view of how things can go if you're in the music scene. So
Definitely. I mean, me and Jack, we signed up to the Team MBL and we didn't really have a clue how anything worked. But
Mhm.
it's really shown us how to go about things, how to make your music better, how to contact labels, just the things that you don't necessarily think about before.
Yeah, definitely. And also, those are the things that aren't like on YouTube or on the internet, because nobody's gonna share their contacts with you, or how did they get on a specific label. And my story for Future House Music, for example, is just I put my music on SoundCloud, and at one point they actually discovered me, and they were like, "Yo, can we release this?" So a lot of people think, "Yo, I've got to send my tracks over there," and but I mean, if you make good music, then you just post it online, and if it's dope, it's dope, and people will recognize it. So that's what actually happened to me, and also for Armada, actually, I got scouted by this A&R from Armada, who actually invited me in the office, and after a couple of meetings, they actually gave me a deal. So that's that's
Wow.
how that's how I got into it without ever sending any demos. I was just releasing it for free on SoundCloud. with a fan gate, of course, like
Yeah.
the hype edit or something.
Well, there you
And
go. Just get your music out there. It doesn't matter
yeah, get
how.
your
Just
music
get it
out
out.
there. Yeah, definitely. And also a thing that I learned, if you put it out for free, a lot of smaller uh, YouTube channels, for example, will be posting it as well. So your internet presence will increase so much. My When you typed in Sonny Bass like 5 years ago, you can even find it on Google. But when you typed it in after 4 or 5 releases for free, like the whole like 6, 7, 8 YouTube pages were full with my tracks. So that really works very well.
Definitely, man. Okay, so it's interesting that you started off as a hip hop artist and now you're more future house. So, would you say you've fully developed and found your own sound?
Um, no, I don't think so because I mean I started off as a producer and not specifically as a DJ. And one thing I've learned is that if you want to be really successful as a DJ, you gotta develop your own sound and you gotta stick with it. But I always get bored after two projects if I use the same sound, and then I'm gonna look for something else because yeah, I'm a producer. I always want to make something else. I mean, sometimes I make drum and bass, or sometimes I make I made dubstep or R&B and that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you want to be, you gotta have your own little thing. But that's difficult, and it's also hard to stick by it. So
Yeah, it is very hard to find. I mean, people that have been doing it for, well, as long as you have, still trying to find their sound.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm sometimes I've got weeks where I'm really breaking my head. Like I've got to find this new sound. Like I've got to find the next tropical house, but different. So stuff like that. I got to be. But if you get into a mindset like that, then you will actually block, and you won't be able to produce anything. So
it's more destructive, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So, how long from when you first started making music did it take for you to get noticed?
Uh, well, so I think the first 5 years were just hip hop. And I got noticed in about 2.5 years, I think. Um, then I started making hip hop tracks for some Dutch artists, some Dutch rappers. And keep in mind there wasn't any Spotify and stuff like that, so it was just really mouth to mouth and still putting out CDs and stuff like that. So after that, I mean, it was a totally different industry. But after like I got into the dance scene, it was really putting out those tracks that you have, because I at first I was like ghost producing for some other guys, and I had some tracks I did that went on spinning, and one of them got played by Chesto a lot. But that wasn't doing any good for my own brand. So when I started to put out music under my own name, that's when I really started to get noticed by, for example, Future House Music. Yeah, well, yeah, I think when I started putting out music, the first one was on like a real small label, and after that, like the second one already got on a future. No, it was House Nation, and after that, it was Future House Music. So you actually build up gradually and step
And
by
you
step.
climb the ladder.
Yeah, exactly.
So, which is your best performing song?
My best performing song, like statistically, or
Yeah, as in the best reactions and most streams, yeah.
well, I think the most streamed one is the Future Sex track, and I think that's also because I've got this. I got this email a couple of years back from the creator of 20 Drumpads 24, and it's a very very popular app. I didn't know at the time, but he asked me to do. He asked me to do a sample pack for that app, and it's basically just a drum pad app where I did my Future Sax track in there. I bounced down all the stamps and all the different drum elements and stuff, and actually got featured in the app, and it was like number one downloaded pack for like a couple of months.
Oh,
So
wow.
it actually increased the listeners as well. And yeah, and I've got tracks like front to back, which do it very well if I play, but they are a little bit less listened to on Spotify and stuff like that. So
And
it
which
depends.
one's your favourite?
My favorite. Oh, those are some hard questions.
You got a lot to choose from, so
Yeah, definitely. And also there are all different vibes. You know, the one is a very bass house, and the other is like more future house. So let me think about that. I'll come back to that.
okay, so different kind of question. What are your views on the importance of social media now in being successful to your brand?
Yeah, social media and marketing is like it used to be like maybe 50%, but nowadays it's like 90%. If you've got one track out, you can actually go for a year without posting a new one if you just post a lot of stuff online on the social media and stuff. So it's one thing I actually need to improve as well, because it's hard to come up with fresh and interesting content like every day or every week, and yeah, it's very
I think that's
important.
one thing that's very easily overthought as well.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I can post like 50 studio pictures, but is that interesting?
Exactly. I
So
think the things that people relate more to is more of your private life. So
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, because I actually got this video on my Instagram where I do like a football trick.
yeah, I saw that.
It got like the most plays of all my videos, I think. So
well, there you go. You need to go back and
yeah,
do some more football videos.
yeah, I think so.
so, what door do you produce in?
Yeah, well, I started off with Reason. After that, I tried to switch to Ableton, but I mean, Reason is very analog, and Ableton was such a new world. So at first, I just rewired Reason to Ableton just to also use the VST plugins, because Reason didn't have any VST plugins at the time, and Reason had Ableton had. But at some point, I was like, no, this is too hard. Then I switched to Cubase for a while, and that was even harder. Then
Oh,
I
really?
switched. Yeah, that was insane. And then I switched to Logic, which actually worked for like 1 or 2 years. And then I switched back to Ableton, and when I got the hang of it, eventually it really worked for me. So I really like Ableton and the workflow.
So you've been through them all then.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think the only one I didn't have is Pro Tools, and yeah, I can't work with Fruity Loops. So
I find that a bit hard to understand, really.
because which one do you use? Do you are
We
you?
use Ableton as well,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We just find it's once you get used to it, it just seems so much simpler.
yeah,
It looks complicated off the bat, but when you know it, it's like, yep, that's there for that reason, that's there for that. Drag
yeah.
that. It's easy.
Definitely.
So, what is your process of starting a track?
Most of the time, I start off with a piano and I just play around until I get some cool chords. Sometimes I start with a sample, and sometimes I start with some idea that I already have in mind. So yeah, it really it depends on which mood I'm in, or the situation I'm in.
Do you ever find yourself like if you're walking in the street and a melody comes to your head, like you just record it on your phone with your
Oh
voice?
yeah, definitely. Even when I'm watching a movie, or even a documentary or something, and I hear cool chord progression, I just rewind it, and I'm like, yo, I gotta keep this in mind for maybe a future project.
And does that work for you?
Yeah, it has worked. I mean, it doesn't always work, but it's better to save it than to
Never have it
regret
at
that you
all.
didn't. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite plugin or favorite plugins?
Well, at the moment, I think Serum, because the sound is so incredible.
Everyone says Serum. That is everyone's go-to favorite plugin.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I still like Silent as well because of the simplicity, and it's very easy to like build a sound from scratch. And I also like Spire, but my Spire has been a little bit corrupted or something, because my computer always starts to freak out when I use it nowadays. So yeah, I'm massive.
what about like a processing plugin?
Processing. What do I use a lot? Uh, Well, I have this plugin. It's called Side Widener, and it's like a dimension expander kind of plugin,
Right.
and it's very handy if you want to like increase the stereo field. But most of the time, when you try to increase the stereo field, it will sound terrible in mono. But when you do it with this one, will still sound the same. So it will actually just increase some of the dimensions, and it's very useful. So yeah, I use that one a lot, and I use a lot of just the normal plugins from Ableton.
Yeah, they are pretty powerful.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, for sometimes when I want like real good compression, I choose, for example, the Waves compressor or the Fab filter, for example, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so how did you get better when you first started? Did you just practice loads, or did you watch a lot of tutorials, or?
Well, I actually, okay, so hip hop is a little bit more, it's a little bit, I mean, it doesn't care much about mixing it down because, I mean, like the old school hip hop, but when you're producing house music, everything has to be really tight, and that's
Hmm.
one thing that I didn't control. I mean, I could make cool hip hop beats and stuff like that, but then I started to make house music, and it was such a different world. So it took me, it took me quite some time to actually get the hang of that. But it also helped when I got a new sound card because I was working at this Tascam US 122 or something. Like it was like $100, and then I switched to the Fireface, which was like $1,000, and also 24-bit and that kind of stuff. And then I started to notice like, wow, everything was so compressed through this other sound card, and the sound opened up on my speakers. So that actually helped to improve my sound a lot. But still, I'm nowadays I'm still sometimes I'm struggling with projects to get everything right. So
What were the main differences from making hip hop to then making house?
yeah, well, side chaining in hip hop. I mean, I'd never heard of it. I never did it. So that's one thing you do in house. You make sure the kick and the bass are actually not touching each other. And in hip hop, it's just it's another way of working. So
And is house harder to make then?
well, I don't think house is harder to produce, but I think if you really want to get the mix down right, house is harder to mix. Also because there are way more elements in there most of the times. Because I mean, house track is really a production, and most of the hip hop beats is just 2 or 3 loops which you put after each other, and that's basically it. But I mean, yeah, I do have some very cool hip hop beats with lots of elements as well, and really cool orchestra things and stuff. So, but that I just did that on hearing and on leveling, and sometimes just a little bit of EQing. So yeah, with house music, it's there are way more techniques to use, saturation
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean, that those are all things I didn't even hear about first. So
Okay, so what is a weakness of yours, if you have one?
yeah, everybody has a weakness. Now I think I what I already said. I want to make new sound every time I produce. So while you should just stick with the sound. For example, I think I have like 3 or 4 tracks which have the Future Sax sound. So that's my Jason Derulo remix, Future Sax, Africa, and another remix. And then after that, my 21 Pilots remix as well, and my remix for Borges, which I released a couple of months ago.
So you've done a
So
lot of a lot of remixes though.
yeah, definitely. But I mean that if I maybe just get stuck with that sound and just build it from there, and for example, something that Brooks does, or maybe Mike Williams, and sometimes you just add a different sound and stuff like that. But you always start working with that sound, then people would really recognize, oh, this is Sonny Bass, because that it was a sound that I programmed myself, and
Right.
nobody else has it, and I think that makes a lot of difference. But I get bored really fast, and I get tired of sounds, and I just want to do something completely else, and yeah, that would definitely be one of my weaknesses.
So you just put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, I'm also really perfectionist, so and yeah, that.
I think everyone is a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to making music because you never know when. You can always do that little bit more, can't you? But you need to know when to stop.
Yeah, and also everybody has an opinion, and that also
And you
really,
can't please everybody.
yeah, that's true. But I want to.
Okay, so you make music. What else do you get up to?
Um, well, I used to be a very good swimmer. I
All
was
right.
ac-
Okay.
I was actually the third of the Netherlands on 100 meters
The third
butterfly.
in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Wow,
On the butterfly as well. So that was my
that's a hard
favorite.
move. I could never do that move.
Yeah, that was my favorite kind of stroke. So yeah, I used to swim for many years, and I also played football. But at some point, I had to choose between swimming and football. So I don't know why I didn't go through with football because you could make a lot of more money with that. But I chose swimming because like my whole family was doing it. So yeah, those were like my sporting days. Nowadays, it's just well, I'm still a very fanatic gamer. So I really
Oh yeah.
like.
Okay. What console?
I used to play on Xbox always, but since a couple of years I have a PS4.
Nah, same story with me.
Yeah, and I really like games like those adventure games like Last of Us.
Yeah, the ones that really get you gripped.
Yeah, definitely, and those that look like a movie, like you're inside of a movie. Those are the ones I like, and I don't like to play like Call of Duty online and just be like a zombie. I do like the zombie mode in Call of Duty. By the way, we play that a lot with friends. So.
Did you get on the Fortnite hype or?
Yeah, well, I tried, but I didn't. No, it didn't stick with me.
Anything else that you do?
uh, yeah, well, I also work in events. So actually a team of a couple of people and me are organizing one of the biggest Christmas events at the end of the year at a castle in the Netherlands, which
Wow, what kind of what genre?
yeah, well, it's Christmas. It's lifestyle and Christmas. So there's like 150 stands, and people are selling all kinds of crap. And,
Like a mini festival sort of thing.
yeah, but really Christmas, and like the target group is like women between like 40 and 65. So it's really something for a group of girlfriends that want to go out. And yeah, it's organized next to a castle, and it's a very beautiful location. And
That
there's
sounds like a
about
lot of work.
Yeah, it's a shitload of work, and it's divided over 4 days, and it has like 20,000 people, so that's like 5,000
Jesus,
people.
man.
Yeah, so that's one of the bigger projects that I'm working on, like besides my music.
Events are stressful, aren't they, though?
Yeah, they're in the top five of the most stressful jobs that you can have. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow, well, just take it easy then.
yeah, I will.
Okay, so how do you find working on collabs?
Sometimes it works really well, so and it also can give you inspiration. Um, but I mean, it do has to be like both way like, kind of thing. So
On the same
sometimes,
page?
yeah, definitely. Sometimes it works when you like shoot the ball to each other, and it goes like from front to back. And sometimes it works if somebody has like a build up or with a break, and then you make a drop. And sometimes it works the other way around. And I also have had tracks which were almost already done, and I just did some magic to it, and that's it. So a tip if you want to collab with for example, one thing I did the Lost Frequencies remix a while ago, and I have his personal I have Felix's personal email. So what I did, I didn't want to come over like, yo, dude, shall we do a collab? No, I just had this track which was for like, no, it was 95% produced with vocals and everything, and it was really poppy. It was like a good follow up for his track Crazy. And I was
Okay.
like, oh, I'm gonna send this to him, and I'm gonna ask him, yo, might this be something for you or for your label? So just to get like a sneaky collab, just don't be too upfront and ask like, yo, dude, collab. So I sent it over to him, and he's like, "Yo, that's a cool track." But unfortunately, he's now doing more of a dark kind of style and more playable. So it didn't work. But still, I think that's the approach you should have. Like, make sure if you want to collab with someone that the track is already almost there.
I think that's what Mo Falk did last week with a lot of his collabs, because he was talking about there's almost like a ladder.
Uh-huh.
So if you're gonna go with someone that's bigger than you or higher up the ladder than you, you're going to want to bring the track to them that's nearly done.
Yeah, definitely. There's some sort of unspoken hierarchy, and I think yeah, if you really have to bring something to the table if you want to collab with someone
Because obviously
who's
you're getting their fans and their reach, aren't you? So,
yeah, definitely. That's how it works.
have you ever had a collab where you're just like, nah, this is pissing me off, or
Like yeah, when somebody is telling me like, "Yo, I'll send the stamps," and then you're waiting for 2 weeks, and
just
I mean,
laziness?
yeah, definitely, and I think that's one of the most common things that I find that people are just they're not focused or something. I mean, how much work is it to just do the wheat transfer and send it over? And
I know,
yeah,
I know. So,
yeah,
what would be your dream collab?
wow. Well, I have to say Armin van Buren, of course, because I'm signed to Armada. But no, a dream collab. I mean, it doesn't matter who the one is you're collabing with, as long as the outcome is nice. I mean, I would love to do a collab with Retrovision, for example. And he is not the number one DJ in the world, but he has such a cool sound and refreshing. So I think
He's hit the ground running, hasn't he? Really?
yeah, I think that matters. So I mean, yeah, and everybody would want to do a collab with Don Diablo or Chesto or something like that. But, I mean, to say that Chesto, his sound is very inspiring, or that he makes all his tracks himself. I mean, yeah, that's something else. I like the pure. If somebody is still pure, I'm also wondering if Don Diablo does everything himself, because he releases so many things, and I think that also influences the like the quality of the tracks. It all seems a little bit of rushed or something,
Oh, you think?
uh, yeah, a little bit, but that's my opinion. But
He's a busy man though, isn't he? So you can never
yeah,
tell.
you can play 5 tracks a week and also make 5 songs a week. So I don't. He's the best businessman of the past couple of years, definitely.
I think he gets about 3 hours sleep a night. That's what he said in one of his podcasts.
Yeah, that's sick. That's really sick.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what is your studio setup like? Are you on PC, Mac, desktop, laptop, speakers, headphones?
I'm on my MacBook, which is from 2013. I'm actually saving up for a new one, and I'm almost there because I really need one. Because I think I did the Skype session with you guys last week, and it was already cracking, and the CPU was totally
Yeah, it
very,
was struggling a bit.
very annoying. And I'm on my RME Fireface 800 sound card. My speakers are Mackie HR824. It's like very old school ones, but they sound really flat actually, and really crappy. But if your track sounds good on these speakers, they will sound basically good on almost any speaker.
Fair
So that
enough.
was, and I have the, what is it? I think it's the M Audio key station, the big one the with the weighted keys.
Oh yeah. So what instruments can you play?
I play a little bit of piano. I play a tiny little bit of guitar, um, and I can play drums a little bit.
Did you start all those when you were younger, or have they come from a bit learning to produce?
When I went from elementary to the next school, I actually somebody in my class learned me how to play drums, and I was like, "Yo, I gotta do this. Dad, can I please get drum lessons?" And after a lot of whining, he actually signed the form, but then I didn't bring it to the musical school, so that I don't know why. I look back to it and I'm like, why didn't I do that? I think I was too lazy myself when I was younger. I was like, no, I just gotta take it there, but. So I didn't go on any lessons, and everything I've learned for the piano and the guitar is just internet. And
Oh really? Self-taught?
yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Do you take any precautionary measures when you're producing or when you're DJing to protect your ears? Because it seems to be more and more of an issue now.
Yeah, definitely. When I produce, I don't take any measures, but when I'm playing and when I'm producing, I'm not producing with the sound at 100%. By the way, most of the time I just produce with the sound so loud that you can actually talk to each other.
Yeah.
But when I'm playing, when I'm in the club, like before and after I'm playing, I wear my plugins. and sometimes as well when I am actually playing. But most of the time when I'm playing, I take my ear plugs out, and then after my set is done, I put them back in again. But recently, I've actually been playing with them as well.
Do you find that it affects your playing ability?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely affects. Well, at first it affected it, but then I think I had to get used to it or something because yeah, still it's muting a lot of frequencies, and you have to kind of get the hang of it. And yeah, now it works. So you just turn up the headphone a little bit louder.
Okay, so have you thought of your favorite track yet?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I got it. I think it's the Oh Baby Sonny bass remix with the Michael
Okay.
vocals. It doesn't have a lot of plays. So, Kygo actually played it a couple of weeks back in Vegas, so that was very cool. But yeah,
You know when your track gets played out like that, do you get notified by them that they're playing it, or do you just find out from your fans?
no,
Or
like the original artist got like a snap video from a girl he knew, and then he told me through Instagram like, "Yo, this guy was playing your track," and I was like, "Yo, I need to get this video." It's a snap, so she didn't save it, so that was
oh, gutting.
a pity. Yeah, but yeah, I think that one that it's also one of my more recent tracks, and I think the elements in there and the mix down is it's very good. So I'm yeah, I was pretty happy with that.
Okay, right. So we did get a couple of fan questions in.
Okay, hit me.
The first one: how do you find inspiration when absolutely nothing is working for you?
I just do something completely else. Um, so a couple of weeks ago, I didn't have any inspiration at all. I was playing the piano, and it's hard. Also, when you're making house music all the time, sometimes when I play the piano, I get this very jazzy chords, for example, and yeah, well, you can do jazz and house a little bit, but and then I used these chords just to make drum and bass, and I had a studio session where I just made drum and bass for like 4 hours, and it turned out pretty cool. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna start an alias, and I'm gonna do drum and bass and stuff. And now, after a couple of days, like, yeah, okay, it's cool, but we'll see what happens with it. But I think that definitely helps. Also to keep seeing the fun of making music, because it can be very frustrating, and I think the most important thing is to have fun and to enjoy it that you're making music, which I
Definitely.
find hard as well sometimes. So
Second question is: would you ever leave Amsterdam?
uh, yeah, I think I would definitely, if the situation is right. I mean, I never been to the States, for example, and I would really want to check out Asia as well. So I mean, I don't know if I would want to live there, but I would definitely want to check it out and see how it is like there. So
I think I agree with that. I mean, I've been to America, but I'd love to see Asia.
yeah, definitely Japan and those kind of countries.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Okay, so are you gigging much at the moment?
It's all right. I think I have like 2 gigs a month, something like that.
Are they like club
Not
nights or are they shows?
Yeah, those are club nights. And I think I'm also going to Turkey in August. My friend Burak Yeter actually plays in Turkey a lot, of course, and yeah, no, he makes some gigs available for me sometimes, so that's pretty nice of him.
Okay, where's the best place that you've played?
Yeah, that was actually in Turkey. There's this club. It's called Club Inferno. It's in the city of Kemer. I think it's close to Antalya. And that's such a big club. I think it can have like 300 people, 3,000 people, sorry, in there.
Wow.
Uh, and I was opening up for some other DJ, and there wasn't very many people in the crowd, but at some point the room actually filled up, and they were at some point there were like so many people, and they were all jumping and bouncing, and they were actually giving me energy. So I was like, oh cool, so now we're gonna see what we can do. And like they all mimicked me with clapping and that kind of stuff. So it was, yeah, that was insane. So when the crowd actually gives you energy instead of the other way around, yeah,
Was that dance music then?
yeah, that was house music and dance music. So that was very cool. And
Awesome.
in Holland, everybody's really everybody's DJ, so nobody cares if you're a DJ. And people are jumping for maybe 2 seconds, and then it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
okay.
quite saturated, isn't it, over there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, how did you get into DJing then? Did that come with producing, or were you already DJing before?
No, that came with producing. When I switched, sorry, when I switched to making dance music, yeah, also had to learn how to DJ. And that a friend of mine actually did that. He's like one of the older guys in the scene. He was like doing lots of gigs in the 1990s, and yeah, he taught me how to use those decks.
Okay. Do you go to festivals much?
Yeah, but only when I'm like in the VIP section or or backstage. Yeah, no. Sometimes I'm not really a festival hopper, and also I really don't like to go to clubs unless I'm playing.
Oh, right, okay, it's strange.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, basically I go to festivals when I'm invited. Sometimes I get like this invite for a backstage or something like that, and then I'm like, yo, that's cool. Then we can actually network and meet some
Yeah,
people.
definitely, definitely.
But I'm not gonna stand in the crowd. No.
Okay, so how did you come up with Sonny Bass?
Um, well, my hip hop name was Shank Beats, and I was looking for like a similar kind of thing. So you have SB, Shank Beats, Sonny Bass,
Oh yeah,
and also I was a fan of Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider. So I actually kind of took it from his name. I wanted to do like Johnny Bass also at first because like John is one of my middle names. But that one was already taken, so I was like, "Yo, Sonny, man, Sonny is even cooler. It sounds more badass." So it was Sonny.
badass. All right, so you've been around for not ages, but you've been around for longer than a lot of people have in the music industry.
Yeah,
Where are you in your career?
well, not far enough. No, well, I mean, I think I think I can be grateful for where I am because sometimes I'm like, yo, it doesn't work, and I need to have more streams and more gigs, and it's not going fast enough. And then sometimes people are telling me, but yo, you're at Armada, and a lot of people would kill to be at your spot and have releases over there and have all those things you've done. So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's true. I've done some very cool projects, and I'm definitely a renowned name, maybe behind like backstage. I'm more renowned than maybe in front of the stage. So a lot of DJs know me.
Yeah, definitely. Are you able to live off your music now?
Not every month. Sometimes I make enough to live off it, but sometimes I have to, and that's why I'm also in events just to make sure I can live.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so where do you want to end up then?
Well, I would like to have a song that hits at least 100 million streams. That would be very nice because that would make so many things possible.
What opportunities would that open up for you?
Okay, well, if you have 100 million streams on your track, you have such a strong case to go to anywhere you like. You can go to all the labels you want. You can use it for all your gigs. You would definitely get so many gigs if you have a track that has so many streams. So yeah, I think it's more like finalizing the brand Sonny Bass and make sure everything is on place.
Yeah.
And really live off it, but it's like such a small percentage that actually does that. I mean, there's some famous DJs but who actually live off of it. Out of all the DJs, that's such a small part.
I feel
Yeah,
like it's a bit of a I'm not sure how to word it, but basically everyone seems to be struggling to get the name going, and then there's no middle ground. It's just straight from getting your name going to being successful.
yeah,
You just sort
definitely.
of take off straight away.
Yeah, yeah, either you're successful or you're not. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. There's no middle ground. There's no like,
no,
yeah, I'm nearly successful, but I'm not. I
yeah.
don't know. It's a strange one, but
But I mean, there are more ways, of course, of making money out of your music, and that's why I do so many different things. I mean, I do the coaching sessions for Team MBL. I also do some
yeah,
mixing, some mastering, ghost productions. But I mean, it's a difficult market because I can't tell the future and be like, yo, I'm gonna sell 3 ghost productions this month. it's sometimes I sell 3, but sometimes I sell 0. So it really differs every month.
It is difficult, yeah. Okay. So what's the biggest highlight so far of your career?
Wow, yeah, I think what's the biggest highlight? Yeah, well, I think playing Armada Invites with this sick lineup. They had like Fedde Legrand, Tom Starr, Loud Luxury, Fire Beats. It was such a sick lineup, and my name was actually standing in that lineup as well. So I still have the poster. I actually took the poster out of the Armada office when like yeah, when like the party was over. I snuck back in and I took out off the poster, and it's actually
I would do the
hanging there.
same.
It's hanging in my studio now, and yeah, that's something I'm very proud of, and that's also me being at Armada, of course, and it's not just about that gig, but I think it's also the whole process of working to that deal with Armada, and then actually be able to play at that gig with so many big artists. So yeah, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, good man, good. Okay, so last question. What bit of advice would you give to someone that wants to get into this industry?
Don't do it now. It's only more competition now. Um, what piece of advice? Well, make good music. If you don't get heard by any labels, or if you're sending demos, put it online on your own SoundCloud with a fan gate as a free download, and just keep doing that until you get heard. That's one of that's how I did it, and I think that still works like that.
Yep, definitely. Okay, well, thank you for coming on, Sonny. Just
Yeah,
let
thank you.
everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, well, my Instagram is at DJ Sonny Bass, Facebook Sonny Bass or DJ Sonny Bass, I think, and Twitter the same. So yeah, check out my music if you don't know it, and let me know what you think.
Yep, definitely. Well, thanks again for coming on, and
Thank you, man.
we'll see you all next week with another episode. Cheers,
Cool.
guys. See you.
Bye bye.